So we're going to focus on the journal entry for bad debt expense. And we do this usually at the end of our reporting period. So most companies will do it at the end of the fiscal year, and then some companies will actually do this every month, so at the end of their month. So this is what it would look like. If I was to pull a report on my accounts receivable, so there's $235,000 that's owed to me from customers. And if I pulled a report, it tells me that of that 235, 110,000 is current. So it's only 30 days overdue. Then 31 to 60 days is 60,000. So then those are 1 month overdue. Then 61 to 90 days, that's 50,000. And then over 90 days is 15,000. So when you get to the longer periods of time, there's a higher risk that you're actually never going to collect from those customers. So at the end of the month or at the end of the year, we'll usually do an estimate, and this is based off of experience from management or from analyzing their reports from the previous months or previous years. So we'll use these estimates to try and figure out how much our allowance should be off of all of these accounts receivables, because we know we're not going to collect all 235. So if I take 110 and multiply that by 5%, that gives me $550. If I take 60,000 and multiply that by 1%, that gives me $600. Then if I take 50,000 and multiply that by 6%, that gives me 3,000. And then if I take 15,000 times 40%, that will give me 6,000. So if I add all of those up, that comes to 10,150. So what we're assuming is that out of the 235,000 that's owed to us, approximately 10,150 is uncollectible. So that's step one. Now the next step that we need to do is I usually like to open up a T account for my allowance for uncollectible accounts. So let's just pretend that we have an opening balance of $6,500. And then if we were working on different problems, we may see debits and credits go in and out of this account. So if we're just assuming that nothing else has happened, then what we're trying to determine is what our adjusting journal entry needs to be, because this 10,150 is just the ending balance that I calculated. So now what I need to do is make an adjusting journal entry to bring the account from 6,500 up to 10,150. So I know if I just work backwards, if I take 10,150 and minus 6,500, my adjusting journal entry needs to be the 3,650. And there are times where the adjusting entry needs to be on this side, especially if the ending balance is lower than 6,500. But we'll do it this way for now. So now my debit is my bad debt expense for the 3,650, so that's that amount. And then my credit is my allowance for uncollectible accounts. Of 3,650. And that journal entry is to record bad debt expense. And we're using the aging of accounts receivable to make that estimate. So if I was to put the balance sheet together, what I would have here is my net accounts receivable would be the 235 minus the 10150. So my net accounts receivable on my balance sheet will be 224,850. So we just joined the accounts receivable and then this contra accounts receivable account together and then report the difference.